Very good morning to all. In this lecture, we are going to study the concept of charge simulation method in order to determine the solution for Laplace equation or Poisson's equation. From the knowledge of our previous lecture, we know that if you take the divergence of gradient of electric potential for a charge-free surface, then it is always going to be 0. That is del square dot P is going to be 0. And in Cartesian coordinate system, the same equation we can write like this: dou 2v by dou x square plus dou 2v by dou s square plus dou 2v by dou z square is going to be 0. And it is nothing but a second order partial differential equation, which is also known as Laplace equation. And our objective is to obtain the solution, or you can say approximate solution of this equation using charge simulation method, normally known as CSM. So let us first discuss the philosophy behind charge simulation method. Charge simulation method, or you can say CSM, works in 4 simple steps. In step number 1, what we need to do, we need to imagine, or you can say assume, n number of imaginary charges which are uniformly distributed in a region, or you can say in a medium where we are actually wanted to calculate the value of electric potential. Second, then we need to calculate the value of electric potential due to each imaginary charge by knowing its potential coefficient at a point of interest. So this is our second step, or point number 2. That means each imaginary charge is going to produce its own electric potential, and suppose if you are interested to calculate what will be the value of potential at any point in that region, so definitely the net potential which we are going to calculate at a point of interest in that medium is going to be equal to, or it is going to influence by the electric potential produced by individual imaginary charges. Then step number 3, we have to calculate the overall potential at a point of interest, which is going to be equal to the collective action of all electric potentials due to each imaginary charges. And point number 4, or step number 4, our solution, or you can say our method is correct only when the value of electric potential obtained via charge simulation method and the actual value of electric potential at a point of interest must be same, or you can say must be nearly same. Then in that sense we can say that the method is correct. So these are the 4 simple steps on which चार्ज सिमुलेशन मेथड वर्क. सो स्टेप नंबर 1 ये बताता है कि जो भी रीजन में आपको पोटेंशियल का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन फाइंड आउट करना है, वो रीजन के अंदर हम लोग n नंबर ऑफ स्मॉल इमेजिनरी चार्जेस जो है वो अज्यूम करेंगे विच आर रैंडमली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड और प्लेस्ड इन दैट रीजन. दूसरा पॉइंट रहेगा कि हर एक चार्ज अपना खुद का एक इलेक्ट्रिक पोटेंशियल बनाएगा, बिकॉज चार्ज है, एक्यूमुलेशन है, तो पोटेंशियल तो आना ही आना है. तो हम क्या करेंगे, हर एक चार्ज ने कितना पोटेंशियल जनरेट किया वो कैलकुलेट करेंगे. फिर पॉइंट नंबर 3 में हम क्या ये पता करेंगे कि अगर मान लो मुझे एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे उस मीडियम में पता करना है कि वोल्टेज की वैल्यू क्या है, तो डेफिनेटली उस पॉइंट पे वोल्टेज की वैल्यू जो है दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय द इलेक्ट्रिक पोटेंशियल ऑफ इंडिविजुअल इमेजिनरी चार्जेस. एंड लास्ट स्टेप रहेगा जस्ट टू चेक वेदर आवर आंसर इज करेक्ट और नॉट. तो वो हम कैसे चेक करेंगे, हमें ये पता करना पड़ेगा कि जो भी आंसर हमारे पास आया यूजिंग चार्ज सिमुलेशन मेथड और जो एक्चुअल वोल्टेज है उस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट का वो सेम है या नहीं. अगर सेम है तो हम बोल सकते हैं कि CSM मेथड जो है वो करेक्टली इंप्लीमेंटेड है. नाउ लेट अस कंसीडर द एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ ऑल दोस 4 पॉइंट्स वाया पिक्टोरियल व्यू. सो हियर आई हैव शोन a rectangular region which is nothing but our region of consideration, and it has some small shaped circles indicated the point charges, or you can say imaginary charges, and a point of interest. So here these indicate imaginary charges. So small n1, n2, n3, n4, n5 and so on up to nn indicate the number of imaginary charges which are randomly distributed in this region. And capital V suffix 1, capital V suffix 2, V3, V4 up to Vn indicate the net electric potential produced by respective imaginary charges 1, 2, 3 up to n. In the same way, this point indicate the point of interest, or you can say this is the point where we are interested to calculate the value of electric potential using charge simulation method. So according to our step number 3, as I told you that whatever the value of potential which we are interested to calculate at any point of interest, that is going to be influenced by electric potential produced by individual imaginary charges. So capital V indicate the value of potential at a point of interest, which is going to be equal to a function of V1, V2, V3, V4, so on up to Vn. So this is what the basic philosophy of charge simulation method. Now, points related to imaginary charges. When I say that in charge simulation method, the first step is we need to imagine, or we need to assume n number of imaginary charges which are uniformly distributed in a region where we are interested to calculate the distribution of electric potential. Then definitely there are some points which will come in our mind. First point is how many numbers of imaginary charges we need to assume, or we need to required to study the distribution of electric potential in a given medium. That means what will be the value of small n. Then point number 2, where to place these charges, मतलब वो charges को वो medium में कहाँ रखना है, कहाँ place करना है. Point number 3, what will be the type of those charges, वो जो charge रहेगा उसका type क्या रहेगा, मतलब whether it is going to be a point charge or whether it is going to be a line charge or a ring charge, that you need to decide before the simulation process or before to start the simulation process. And fourth point is what will be the magnitude of these charges, उनका magnitude कितना रहेगा. So basically these are the 4 basic points which we need to say assume before the starting of our simulation process. That means how many number of charges are required in order to study the distribution of electric potential, then where to place them, what will be their type, and what will be their magnitude. So initially, in order to start our simulation process, we need to assume some parameters like number of charges and their placement, and then we have to calculate via step number 2 that electric potential produced by each imaginary charge indicated by symbol V1, V2 up to Vn. And in order to calculate the value of V1, V2 up to Vn, we need to apply the basic philosophy of electrostatic field. So let us consider a pictorial diagram in order to understand how to calculate the value of potential at a point of interest due to any imaginary charge Q. So let us consider that this is nothing but imaginary charge indicated by symbol Qi, and let us consider this point indicate a point of interest which is indicated by symbol Pi. So from this diagram, Pi indicate point of interest, or it is nothing but a point in a region where we are interested to calculate the value of potential due to imaginary charge Qi. And let us consider that these 2 points are separated by a finite distance small a. Now we know that from the knowledge of our electrostatic field, this charge Qi is going to produce some net potential Vi at point Pi, and mathematically the equation for Vi is given by Vi equals to Qi divided by 4 pi epsilon into A. Now in this equation, if you see closely, Qi indicate the net charge of imaginary charge or the net magnitude of imaginary charge. Then small a indicate the distance between point of interest and imaginary charge. Epsilon indicate the permittivity of that medium, or you can say the region under consideration. So once the medium is selected, once the position of imaginary charges are fixed, once the point of interest is fixed, the value of a, epsilon are going to be constant. So in this equation I can say that a denominator aspect, that is 4 pi epsilon a, are nothing but constant, and that constant is replaced by symbol capital P. So P is nothing but 1 upon 4 pi epsilon a, and this P is called as potential coefficient. So from the logic of potential coefficient, I can say that the electric potential is going to be the product of potential coefficient and the magnitude of imaginary charge. So the same logic we need to implement for n number of imaginary charges which are uniformly distributed over the entire region under consideration. And suppose if you are interested to calculate what will be the value of potential at a point charge Pi due to such n number of charges which are uniformly distributed over that region is given by equation number 1. So Vi indicate the net value of electric potential at a point of interest Pi, which is nothing but the summation of J vary from 1 to n. So here J indicate number of imaginary charges starting with 1 ended up to small n. Pij indicate the potential coefficient with respect to imaginary charge 1 and our point of interest P. So the same thing is mentioned over here. Now suppose if you are interested to write equation number 1 in matrix form, so we need to write this equation in matrix form and then we need to apply Cramer's rule or any methodology in order to solve this matrix. So in this way we are in a position to determine the value of electric potentials produced by individual imaginary charges with respect to point of interest. And let us consider that capital V is nothing but the value of electric potential which we calculated with the help of charge simulation method, which is nothing but a function of V1, V2 up to Vn. In the same way, at the same point of interest, we can calculate the value of electric potential by using our previous technique or by using Laplace equation. And then if the value of V and Vc, where V indicate the value of electric potential obtained by charge simulation method and Vc indicate the actual value of potential at the same point which is obtained via Laplace equation, if these two magnitudes are same, then we can say that our method is correct. And if they are not same, then in that case we need to go to step number 1. We need to change the number of charges, we need to change the position of charges, we need to change their magnitude, we need to change their type and repeat the entire process unless and until we will get this equation, that is V equals to Vc. So this is the basic philosophy behind charge simulation method. Now the second topic which we are going to cover in this lecture is the basic concept related to electric stress. Now what is electric stress? Electric stress is defined as the component of force experienced by a material. The material may be anything, it may be conductor, it may be dielectric, or it may be electrode, when it is subjected to a very high electric potential or a very high electric field. So when a material is placed in the presence of a very high external electric field, and whatever the force experienced by that conductor or that insulator or that electrode, that force component is known as electric stress. And experimentally it was found that these electric stress are very high when the distribution of electric field is non-uniform in a given medium, which is very important. So the thumb rule is that if we want to reduce the value of electric stress on a given material, definitely our objective is to have a uniform distribution of electric field in that region. मतलब कहने का मतलब बहुत ही सिंपल है कि अगर मान लो मुझे इलेक्ट्रिक स्ट्रेस को कम करना है किसी मटेरियल पे, फॉर एग्जांपल से इंसुलेटर, तो वो केस में हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, हमारा मेन फोकस जो है या फिर हमारा जो मेन ऑब्जेक्टिव है वो इस पे रखना पड़ेगा कि हमारा वो रीजन के अंदर में जो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड है वो यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होना चाहिए. अगर इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट रहेगा तो इलेक्ट्रिक स्ट्रेसेस भी क्या होंगे, कम होंगे, और इलेक्ट्रिक स्ट्रेस अगर कम होंगे सो वी आर इन अ पोजीशन टू यूज द मैक्सिमम इंसुलेटिंग प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ दैट डाइलेक्ट्रिक मटेरियल. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो द सेम थिंग इज मेंशन ओवर हियर. Go through this slide. Now, based on the uniformity of electric field, they are classified into two main category. First one is called as uniform electric field and second one is called as non-uniform electric field. And from this figure, non-uniform fields are further classified into two main category. First one is called as weakly non-uniform field and second one is called as extremely non-uniform field. Now on this slide I have mentioned one symbol which is known as eta. Now eta is nothing but the degree of uniformity. Now what is mean by degree of uniformity? Let us discuss that. Degree of uniformity is defined as the ratio of partial breakdown inception voltage indicated by symbol Ui to the breakdown voltage indicated by symbol Ub of a given material. Now what is partial breakdown inception voltage? Remember one thing, as we know that every insulating material exhibit the property of insulation up to certain applied voltage. For example, अगर मैं air की बात करता हूँ तो air is nothing but a perfect insulator, but it is possible only when if we maintain applied voltage within a specified limit. For example, अगर मान लो आपके पास में दो इलेक्ट्रोड है और दोनों इलेक्ट्रोड के बीच में का जो स्पेसिंग है वो 1 सेंटीमीटर का है और वो स्पेसिंग में आपने एयर एज अ मीडियम यूज किया, and suppose if you are applying a potential difference between those two electrode, and if you are increasing the value of potential difference above 33 kV, then in that case that air which is acting as an insulator will loses its property and it start conducting, or I can say that the insulation property of air at 33 kV per centimeter get breaks and it will jumps into the section of ionization. So in that case, whatever the voltage, for example in this particular case 33 kV per centimeter for air will act as a breakdown voltage. In the same way, partial breakdown inception voltage is nothing but the applied voltage which somewhere inside that material start the process of breakdown because of irregularities or because of some defect during the manufacturing of that particular material. So that voltage is called as partial breakdown inception voltage, and when there is a complete breakdown occur of that material at the applied voltage, that voltage is called as breakdown voltage. So the ratio of Ui to Ub is known as degree of uniformity indicated by symbol eta. So mathematically we can write eta is nothing but Ui by Ub. Now Professor Schweigers in the year 1922 also defined another aspect to represent, or you can say to calculate the degree of uniformity, and he explained or he proved that degree of uniformity is also defined as the ratio of mean of peak values of electric field intensity to the maximum value of electric field intensity, and mathematically we can write eta equals to E mean by E max, where E mean is nothing but the mean of peak values of electric field intensity, and it is mathematically calculated as volt per meter. So it is going to be equals to U by D, where U is nothing but the potential difference which is applied between those two electrode, and D is the distance between those two electrode. So this is the another aspect of define the concept of degree of uniformity. Now what degree of uniformity represent? Degree of uniformity represent the use of, or you can say how effectively we are utilizing dielectric strength of a given insulating material which is placed in between those two electrodes. Degree of uniformity also represent the better use of insulating property of a given insulating material. That means if the value of degree of uniformity is close to 1, then in that case we can say that the fields are uniformly distributed in the region, and if the fields are uniformly distributed, the forces acting on the insulating material are minimum, and if the forces acting on the insulating material are minimum, we can utilize their insulating property in a better way. So the same thing is mentioned over here. Then degree of uniformity, from the definition it is very clear that it is the ratio of two similar quantity. That's why it is a dimensionless quantity, and in general the value of degree of uniformity is always in between 0 to 1. 0 means worst condition, 1 means best condition. 1 indicate that we are in a position where the distribution of electric field is uniformly in that medium. So practically our objective is to achieve eta equals to 1, which is very important. Now let us try to discuss the concept of uniform electric field, then weakly non-uniform electric field, and extremely non-uniform electric field, and what will be the value of eta in these cases. So what is uniform field? Uniform field is defined as a field where the potential is linearly distributed. That means there is a linear distribution of electric potential over the entire region. The equipotential lines and electric field lines are always form a perfect square in the main field region. This is very important, and that is the reason, because when we derive the expression for finite difference method in order to calculate the expression of Laplace equation, in that case we assumed that the electric field is uniformly distributed, and as the electric field is uniformly distributed, the electric field line and equipotential lines are always normal to each other, and they always form a square region under the main consideration. That is the main reason, or you can say why we have adopted square region, or why we have selected square region for the derivation of finite difference method, because this field is uniform, and that is the reason they always form a square region with respect to each other. Now let us consider a uniform electric field between two electrodes, or you can say two parallel plates electrode, as shown in figure 1. So from this figure it is very clear that, see here, these indicate equipotential lines and these indicate electric field lines. And if you see this diagram very clearly, this center region is nothing but our region of main consideration. So here, as the field is uniformly distributed, from this diagram it is very clear that they always form a square section with respect to each other, and that is the reason in finite difference method we have selected a square region, because the field distribution is uniform. And in this case, this plus u by 2 and this minus u by 2, this u by 2 indicate the magnitude of voltage which is applied to the respective electrode, plus polarity and minus polarity. So if you take the potential difference में क्या करना पड़ेगा? We need to take the difference between these two magnitude. So if you take u by 2, then minus of minus u by 2, so it is going to be u by 2 plus u by 2, which is nothing but u. So I can say that capital U will be the potential difference, or you can say the voltage which is applied across these two electrode. Second graph indicate that the variation of voltage in between those two electrode, where the distance between those two electrode is indicated by symbol small d. So there is a smooth variation. So from this graph it is very clear that the potentials are uniformly distributed in that region if the field is uniformly distributed. And then figure number 3 indicate that as the field is uniformly distributed, the value of E remain constant unless and until the polarity is on same side. So plus E max, and then it is changes to minus E max. So from this it is very clear that in case of uniform electric field, the value of breakdown inception voltage and the value of breakdown voltage, they are going to be equal, and as they are going to be equal, the value of eta, which is called as degree of uniformity, is going to be 1. This you have to remember. That means in case of uniform distribution of electric field, the value of eta is going to be 1. Now what is weakly non-uniform electric field? In weakly non-uniform electric field, the potential distributions are not linearly distributed. They are slightly changed with respect to linear pattern, and because they are not linearly distributed, they are not going to make a perfect square in the main region of consideration. So let us study this via figure number 2. So here we are having two spheres shape electrodes which are placed at a distance of small d with respect to each other, and then we applied a potential difference of u. So plus u by 2 and minus u by 2, if you take potential difference, you will get capital U. So u will be the voltage applied between these two electrode, and as the field is weakly non-uniform, so it is very clear that they are not going to make any perfect square with respect to each other, and the distribution of this voltage is not a straight line. It is slightly away with respect to linear, and in the same way the variation of electric field. So from this it is very clear that in case of weakly non-uniform electric field, the value of partial breakdown inception voltage is slightly less as compared to the breakdown voltage, and because ui is slightly less than ub, the value of eta is slightly less than 1, or you can say it is close to 1 but not exactly 1. Then extremely non-uniform electric field, This is possible only when we are having a very pointed structure type electrode. So in extremely non-uniform electric field, the potential distribution is completely non-linear in nature, and they are not making perfect square in the main field region, and it is indicated in figure number 3. So here we are having the distribution of electric field between two electrodes, that too of needle shape, that means needle combination. So from this diagram it is very clear that they are not making any perfect square in the region of consideration, and as the distribution is not uniform with respect to potential, E is again non-linear in nature. So this is the example for extremely non-uniform electric field. And in case of extremely non-uniform electric field, the value of partial breakdown inception voltage is very small as compared to the actual breakdown voltage, and because of that reason the value of degree of uniformity is very small as compared to 1. So these three things you should know. In case of uniform electric field, the value of eta is exactly equals to 1. In case of weakly non-uniform electric field, the value of eta is slightly less than 1, or it is close to 1 but not exactly 1. And in case of extremely weak, or you can say extremely non-uniform electric field, the value of eta, which is nothing but degree of uniformity, is very small as compared to 1. So from our discussion we conclude that in order to reduce the magnitude of electric stress on a material, it may be conductor, it may be insulator, or it may be electrode, we need to achieve a uniform distribution of electric field in that material. So in the next lecture we are going to study what will be the effect of grounding on electric field configuration, and what are the different types of method to control or to minimize the electric stress on a given material. Thank you.